Hello everyone, today we're going to try something different. Usually I talk about OSINT content on this channel or work on my personal project called Worldwide View, but today I'm going to creating Minecraft from scratch using a proper development framework. I've seen a lot of videos where people create Minecraft games from scratch using either GLM, Opus, or Fable. And they all have the same one major problem, which is that these models aren't really designed to have you send them just one prompt and left it abandoned, like your dad. I'm sorry. In this video, we're going to try something different. We'll use GSD combined with GLM and DeepSeek to hopefully create a better result with less cost than how everyone else is doing. By the way, the next part is going to be long, so if you don't care about the technical explanation or want to skip to certain parts in the video, feel free to do so through the timestamp I put up on the screen here. Just to give you an idea of how they compare to each other, DeepSeek V4 is a family of rock-bottom pricing models, costing only a fraction of what other open-source competitor models would cost. V4 Flash runs just 14 cents per million input tokens and 28 cents per million output tokens. GLM is also a much cheaper model for its size, costing only single-digit dollars while performing at a near-frontier level. GLM 5.2 comes in at $1.40 per million input tokens and $4.40 per million output tokens. To compare head-on with Western closed-source models, Sonnet 4.6 performs slightly better than V4 Flash, but costs $3 per million input tokens and $15 per million output tokens, over 20 times the price for that increase in intelligence. Meanwhile, GLM 5.2 is a model that's neck and neck with Opus 4.8 in overall intelligence, with Opus 4.8 costing $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output tokens. More than 3 times the input cost and nearly 6 times the output cost of GLM 5.2 for performance that's close enough not to matter for most real-world use. Oh, in case you guys don't know what GSD is, it's basically a vibe coding development framework. When you text an AI in a long chat window, it starts forgetting details. The AI can easily get overwhelmed by the massive amount of code, error logs, and chats pile up. GSD comes in to save the day by splitting up the task into smaller, more digestible chunks. These are called milestones, which are like your big block tasks, such as add authentication or create multiplayer, which are then broken down further into phases like add PvP and handle online connection, and so on. So by doing this, you can keep feeding the AI work to do and it won't get overwhelmed. By designing our architecture around using these models efficiently, we can reduce costs by up to 80%, and as an aspiring YouTuber, these costs wouldn't be too devastating for me, and I would still be able to create high quality videos for you guys to enjoy. So without further ado, let's get into building Minecraft. Okay, so let's start building this. First I'm gonna go create a new project. So right now what it's asking me is what I want to build. The nice thing about this is that you don't have to be a smarty pant with this. You don't need to send your prompt to an AI agent and ask it to engineer your prompt. You can just brain dump whatever it is you want to make and just sit back and relax and it will just handle the rest. Alright, so this is a test project, a demonstration of how GSD and other agents can help build a complete Minecraft clone from scratch with using proper development techniques. So the idea is that we're just going to make a complete Minecraft clone with most of the features and we send that off. I'm thinking just for simplicity, we're going to use the web-based one. I mean, for most of the tasks, that's just going to be enough. Oh, we want everything. Let's create everything. And we're going to be using 3JS for this, just to make it easier on ourselves. No need for multiplayer just yet. Ooh, that's going to be a lot. Okay, we're gonna start with something simple. If it gets like even just a complete Minecraft clone with no issue, that would be impressive. There's no shot it's gonna be able to do the expanded set on the first try, so probably not. I'm gonna call this Minecraft GSD. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna come back when it stops and it needs some help.
5 minutes later.
Because this is not like a complex project, I think we can get away with just doing it fast. Just a summed down version, not the full discuss, plan, execute, verify. I mean, we could do it, but still, I think it's just easier if we go it fast. Alright, we'll just go moderate. Yeah, so you can see it's writing out the project and the config.json. All these files keep track of how the project is going to progress through time. They will be updated on dynamically, which is very good for a complete software development framework. And actually I'm going to have it, but actually wait, it was designed using the DeepSeek V4 Flash, which wasn't the best one. I will have it redesigned with GLM.
A few moments later.
Usually GLM does take a lot more time when it comes to thinking because it's just a lot more verbose when it comes to being thorough, which does give us like good quality, but hey, if it's good, it's good, right? It can be a bit costly. The original document listed features as bullet points with no architectural reasoning. Yeah, so on the first pass with Flash, we can see that it did miss a lot of stuff. Flash shouldn't really be trusted for architectural design. That task is much more suited for GLM agent to do. It does take a long time on each document though, and you can see this one took a while, but it generated 132 lines. And you can see the document is quite comprehensive with the entire vision, architecture, and everything that is needed to get the project going. Much better in comparison to just one-shotting the project. Alright, so my goal is to have you do this autonomously from start to the end. I want to know whether you have any question for me before I hand this off to you entirely, giving you full responsibility. Alright, now here are the few questions. Here are the few final questions that it will be asking me before I hand off to it. We'll do all 6 phases. We're going to get the pixel art early on, so I don't really like the procedural generation. Most of the time it does break, and it's hard to tell for the agent because there is just no way. So we just get procedural art. Yeah, just design it based on my computer. Alright, cool. So right now it is 10:04, and we're going to start having the agent go do what it needs to do. Alright.
One eternity later.
Okay, so it seems that the agent has finished. It took me about 4 hours to complete everything, but well, I had to actually go to sleep last night because it was 10 p.m. when it started, and then I had to go to sleep at 12. So in total, it took about 4 hours. And as you can see, it did a lot of work. So just going through everything, we can see that it used their super, which is basically the GLM. The general is the DeepSeek V4 Flash. So I really rarely use the DeepSeek V4 Pro because I kind of don't need to. Alright, so let's spin it up and see how it works. Alright, okay, so it's up. Alright, let's see. Okay, so it seems that I'm straight off just in creative mode. Oh wow, okay. This is a whole lot better than I expect. Alright, so we can fly. Movement is good. If we place blocks, it's perfect. Look, it's a perfect placing block. Okay. What are these blocks? I would assume these are like cobblestones. This is probably gravel. I wonder if gravel falls. I think so. Yeah, sand doesn't really fall. But hey, at least, okay, the world generation looks pretty good. We can see that, yeah, it even add like fogs. There's chunk rendering. Although, we can see that the water, because of chunk rendering, oh, yeah. Yeah, we can definitely see that there's like sort of like a boundary between these waters. For the grass texture though, it's pretty good. There's just like grass in the water. Alright, let's try to find somewhere flat so we can build a house. There's no like sprint mode, so we can't really fly faster. Yeah, there's not a lot of flat terrain I can use to build my house. Okay, I'm gonna build it here. Alright, this is like a good base. So we're just gonna build a bit more over here. Alright. Oh wait, yo, it even had like an inventory system as well. All these bookshelves I can decorate my house. Oh, when it comes to creative mode, it seems that I can just go through the floor. Oh wow, that's like ores and everything. Yeah, it implemented like greedy meshing, so there's not actually a lot of mesh inside the chunks. So it doesn't actually lag out the computer when we go inside the chunks. Alright guys, so I have finished building my house. Do you guys like it? This is like the most basic house you could ever get, but hey, it works. Actually, I'm gonna decorate my house a bit. We're gonna add some bookshelves. Ooh, okay. I don't think there's bed. Oh, but we definitely can get some windows. Hell yeah. There we go. Oh, that's a house. Oh, I'm gonna add some, okay, the house is not exactly very stable. A normal house like this would probably fall over. Alright, and add some bushes around the base, just to give it some more greeneries. And yeah, so this is Minecraft, made inside of the browser using GLM and DeepSeek. Okay, let's check out if there's like any other features. I think everything's pretty basic, but the fact that everything works on the first try, just one-shotting everything, is pretty impressive, I'd say. Yeah, considering that I had not actually tested this before. This is like the first time I see it as well, and it doesn't seem to have any major bugs. It's entirely fully working as it is. Compared to the other projects that you see, it's always going to be a bit buggy, but with this, it looks pretty much perfect. And in fact, even like these chunk boundaries, yeah, GLM even noted out that there's going to be this issue, and it actually is fully aware before we even done any testing. So it saw the issue. It's a tech debt that we can solve later on. But yeah, it is fully aware of what this was doing the whole time. It had not lost track because we have been using the GSD framework, guiding it through the whole thing. Okay, so let's do a review. Alright, so overall, the output was actually pretty solid. We didn't hit a single error on the first try, which honestly is quite impressive. If you want to compare it to what other people are getting with the usual one prompt and pray method, here, have a look.
Came up with this. This is a good start. At least there's a health and hunger bar at the top. But this is just like shelves of orbs, like in the Harry Potter movie. This isn't really Minecraft. So, is it the game or is it my potato PC? Yo, there's no way my PC can only run 10 FPS. That's just not true. This game was buns, bro. Like, I'm not playing this, bro. I'd pay not to play this.
Or have a look at this other one.
And I genuinely don't know what plank is. And to be honest, I don't like this camera movement. It's so lagging. Also, the buttons work wrong. When I press W, it goes back. When I press S, it goes front.
Considering that we didn't hit these kind of issues, I'd say we did pretty good. One thing though, 4 hours was way too long. Most of those other videos wrap up in about an hour. It could have been faster, but I think it got stuck running some commands that were blocking the main thread for a long time. And to be fair, GSD is always going to take longer because it had to spend all that time running through all the verification loops, the phases, and the milestone write-ups. But hey, if it makes the output better, I wouldn't complain too much about it. I couldn't give you a direct cost comparison since this ran over multiple hours, and I was jumping between projects at the same time. But if I had to guesstimate, it landed somewhere between $5 and $10 in API pricing. For comparison, if I ran the same thing on Claude Sonnet, it would have been around 25 to 40 bucks. And if I went full opus, probably 40 to $200. At that point, you guys might start seeing me making YouTube videos from the streets. Overall, I would say I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. If you guys have any ideas on what I should make next, please tell me about it in the comments. I would love to hear what you think. If you happen to stumble upon my channel, I hope you enjoy what you see. I've only just started making videos. If you have any feedback or critique, it would be great to hear your comment about it. I'll be going through all the comments to learn from your suggestions so I can improve and grow as a creator. I hope you want to come along for the journey, and if you do, I'll see you soon.
Welcome. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers. I thought so much of City 17 that I elected